You back here on the Inphamus Hour. I'm your host, the Inphamus Amadeuz. Make sure you subscribe to the Inphamus Hour on all platforms, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and shout out to Pandora. Pandora just picked up the Inphamus Hour, so we'll be on there. And we'll be syndicating soon on FM radio as well, so we're going to have to clean up the shows a little bit. No cursing, no weed smoking, but we're from the hood, and that's what we like to do. All right. Shout out to everyone who also watches on BoomBapNation.com. Shout out to my guy Isniz in the building. You hear me talk about him a lot. If you see a guy that you're walking down the street and you feel like you're gonna get robbed, that's my guy Isniz. And he's here. He's always supporting the Inphamus Hour, so shout out to him. All right, right now in front of me, I gotta give 100% props because there's not that many people that have their acting debut with Halle Berry. Let's talk about it. Losing Isiah was a big movie in the 90s.
Yeah.
Super, was it 95?
95.
I mean, so you came out the womb, like, ready, like.
Yeah.
This guy was ready. Give it for my guest, Marc John Jefferies in the building. So how did that whole thing happen? Because, I mean, obviously you were young. Like, so did your parents, like, go through, like, a casting process to get you in that movie?
Yeah, so when I was, like, 3 weeks old, my dad got me into print work. And I went from print to doing commercials. And then when I was 3, I got to audition for Losing Isiah through my agent at the time. And I auditioned like 9 times for that project just because they couldn't believe that I was bringing the value I was bringing to the table. So they literally saw me about 9 times. And the last 2 times, they flew me out to meet with the producers and directors and Halle and all that stuff. So, yeah, man, just through auditioning.
Yeah. Obviously, people have seen you in a bunch of movies, Notorious. You've done some voice work for, like, Spider-Man and things like that. But I remember you from New York Undercover.
Yeah.
Shout out to New York Undercover. New York Undercover, if you're not familiar with New York Undercover, it was a police crime series in the 90s, and it really kind of captivated the world. I think it was on Fox 5. I can't remember. The final episode of New York Undercover when Ice-T got bodied was actually in my grandmother's building. We're actually stay at right now, so round of applause for that. How did you get in New York Undercover? I mean, that was
same thing.
Yeah, same thing, right?
You know, like that's the whole art of the craft. It's just going in and proving you better than everybody else. And you know, being now better is not necessarily talent. That's the way the industry in general, both in music and acting, has transcended, or I would say evolved to where now there's so many different little idiosyncrasies that go into the value a person puts out, you know. But yeah, man, back then it was just about proving you better than the next person.
Yeah. I mean, you've been in the movie industry for a while. And it kind of seems like the movie industry is changing, where we're getting like premier actors now doing stuff like specifically for Netflix. In a sense, is this the right thing to do, or should people just say, you know what, I only want to do blockbuster movies, let's keep it on the big screen?
Nah, I feel like you got to switch it up. You know, like when you only do blockbusters and a movie's value, or your value is now determined by how successful the movie is in the box office. Yeah. But now, you know how many movies you want to see, but because life, you working, you traveling, whatever the case is, you can't go to the theater to see it. So what better way? Netflix. Yeah. Netflix is a way where the viewership is more so based on if the person wants to see the movie and not really their schedule. You know, to set up a date to go to the movies, that takes time. You got to take 3 hours out of your day and find the time to do that. With Netflix, you be on the train, you could be in the car, you could be at the doctor's office, you could be anywhere and watch these movies, you know? So I definitely feel like it's a power move for 2 reasons. One, Netflix is putting up a lot of capital to get those A-listers, you know? So it's definitely advantageous for them financially. And then 2, it's kind of safer for them because people are going to watch movies on Netflix because they bored. Yeah. Nobody go to the movie theater and spend $17.50 on a movie because they bored. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a good way to get on that new wave. You know, Apple is coming out with all of these new shows and stuff. They got their own streaming platform coming. You got Disney Plus that just launched, and now they got their own content. You got Hulu, you got Amazon, you have Netflix, and there's another one that I'm forgetting. That's this is one people don't know about. Snapchat is starting their own original content. Really? Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's the place to be now. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find it difficult to have a personal life because you've been in the spotlight so long as far as being an actor from a child, do you kind of wish maybe sometimes you could have like a personal, I'm sure you get stopped all the time, or do you kind of enjoy it, like, you know, I mean, what comes with acting?
I'm not one for the fame of it. I don't like attention just for attention's sake. I'm not one of them type of niggas. Like, but it does come with the job, and fame leads to more work, so I don't mind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got my personal life. It's just all about how you structure your personal life to have that privacy. Yeah. And I have that. I don't feel like I'm, you know, missing out on anything, but it's moments where I'm like, dang, man, right now. But at the end of the day, it's what I signed up for. Yeah. You know, like, regardless of the fact that, you know, you hear people like, yeah, celebrities, they got emotions too, they got feelings too. Yeah, that's true. But at the end of the day, certain people are just happy to meet you, you know? And my thing is, anybody that takes the time out their day to show me love, I'm going to show them love back. Like, even on my gram, if anybody, if I bump into anybody and they post a picture with me, I repost it on my story. And that's just because without that love, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Yeah.
What is the thought process like when you're preparing to become a character? I mean, you've been in many movies. You've been in Notorious. You've been in Get Rich or Die Trying. You've been in even like the Cosby series, the crime series that was not confused with Bill Cosby, obviously the Cosby series. What is the thought process like? Is it kind of like making an album? Like, you got to get into a certain mode and just live the character in a sense?
Nah, I mean, for me, it differs based on the character. Like, I just got finished with this project that's so far outside of anything I've ever done, and I had to train for that, but not on the acting aspect of it. I had to like do dialect coaching and stuff like that, learn how to simulate piano playing and things of that nature. So sometimes you get projects where we got to go through that. Like on Notorious, we did a month of choreography before we even started shooting. Wow. Just to learn how to move like the characters we were portraying. Yeah. But when it comes to the actual performance, I mean, nah, man, it's like I'm blessed to be able to look at a character, read a script, make my points of relatability to the character, and then once I've done that and I've kind of wrapped my head around how I want to externalize them, now it's just doing it. So it's people that's been with me on set, and they're like, yo, I don't know how you do that. Because I'll literally be sitting here laughing, joking, talking about the Knicks or the Nets game or a vacation I took, and the director's like, all right, roll sound, and I'm dropping into a heavy emotional scene and switching it off like that, you know? So it's just practice. Repetition leads you to that point where it becomes automatic. Yeah.
So by the time people hear this podcast, it's going to drop Sunday, and Monday is March 9th, which is the death date of Notorious B.I.G. It's actually my birthday. Round of applause for that. Oh, that's crazy. Ironically, my birthday is the day B.I.G. died. I was 14 years old. I'll never forget it. Right. The Notorious movie, it got good criticism, bad criticism. Is there anything you think they could have done different to kind of like fully navigate the story, or were the writers trying to add drama to the story?
I can't really say, you know, because I'm going to keep it a stack. I had never heard a Biggie song prior to doing that movie. Okay. Like, I didn't grow up on rap, you know, so I grew up on country music, dog, and alternative rock, and like, I'm a little nigga that was listening to Avril Lavigne and NSYNC when I was little, you know, so I didn't really know too much about Biggie's narrative prior to doing the project, but I learned a lot through shooting it. Yeah. And, I mean, people that was actually there with Big when everything was going down, Lil Cease, Nino, Money L, all of them dudes, D-Rock, even Miss Wallace, you know, they were pleased with how the film came out. So if they were there and they lived it and they're pleased with it, who are we to say what they should have done different, you know? Well, another thing that people don't understand is that, one, it's a movie, so it has to have entertainment value. If certain things didn't carry a particular layout, they have to kind of change it so that way the movie has more value, you know? And two, aside from that, it's just life. You know what I'm saying? So people may feel like, oh, this was too dramatic, but if that's true to what happened, that's true to what happened. Now, to take away from that, now you're changing the man's narrative, you know? So it's like, if you're going to tell the story, you got to tell the story the right way. So, I mean, I didn't have any problem with it. I did hear about some of the negative criticism, more so in, like, people that they casted for certain characters and just it didn't really happen like that. But, again, these were people that weren't there. Yeah. So what you saw on the news, how are you going to take that and then try to say that that's not accurate to what actually happened in person.
People most know you for the Get Rich or Die Trying movie, obviously. Playing 50 Cent at that time, especially now that we spoke about that you don't come from this background. So what was that process like, getting ready to play like this type of character that evolved into, the gangster, into the music and stuff like that? Was it difficult for you to navigate through that, or?
Nah. I'm all right. So I didn't grow up on rap culture, but I'm from the hood. I'm from the Bronx, 164 Woody Crest.
Oh, shout to the BX.
You know what I'm saying? Like 1001 Woody Crest.
Okay.
I grew up, A Boogie and all of them grew up down the block from me. We used to ball at Nelson Park when we were younger. So like that is my culture in a sense. So I understand it. And then my family, I got a lot of bug outs in my family. So it was easy for me to pull from real life. Like I wasn't a person that came from Idaho and I didn't know what was what. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just the fact that wasn't me personally. So I think what made it easy is because I experienced it, even though I was not living that. And that's never been me. I've never been one to fake rap anything. I've never been that type of dude that had any trouble with the streets. But when you know people that do, now it just makes it a little bit easier to live truthfully in the character because you live in their truth. And then aside from that, I had to spend time with 50 before I shot the movie. So just picking up small things from his personality now, and then understanding why that formed or what that developed from, it made it easier to portray it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then, I mean, all in all, my character wasn't really moody like that. 50 as a younger kid, that was his transition. Yeah. Like even when he started selling, it was the fact that he was trying to find himself. He was trying to find that new direction or have something else to focus on since his mom was no longer there. So the person that provided for him is gone, so now he had to provide for himself. And he learned lessons through that turned him into who he was. So the earlier version of him, I didn't really have to be too much of a thug, you know? So it's just a little fortunate too.
How was time with 50 Cent? I met 50 Cent one time, and one of the things that I definitely respected about 50 when he came to the radio was when he was doing this interview, he kind of cared about what everyone in the room thought about what he was saying, and he would let you know that by having direct eye contact with everyone. So the cameraman, the board op. What was that time like with him, spending with him and creating the character and living it?
Yeah, that was dope, man. Honestly, 50 he's a cool dude. He's a thorough dude, like very smart. I remember the day, this is when he signed the deal with Vitamin Water. I was actually in the mobile studio and we was shooting the project and he was just explaining the deal to me and kind of breaking it down and stuff like that. So he's one of those people that he uses every opportunity he can to teach people where he can, and despite his background and where he comes from, he's sharp. He's a smart dude. So certain times people think that certain things he does is for no reason, but 50's calculated. Yeah. Everything he does, it's a reason for it. And it's still true to him, but just know that there's a reason why he's doing everything that he does, So I just learned a lot about kind of what we were speaking about earlier, right? Like who you actually are. And you can always be that, in his private life, who he actually is so different than the person or the persona that people perceive him to be, So that was just interesting to learn that and be able to take that in firsthand.
For the viewers that are watching right now, is there a difference between actually playing a character and doing a voiceover in a sense? You've done some voiceover work as well. So is it difficult to kind of like just do a voiceover based on something that you can't physically feel and touch at the moment? Or is it kind of one of the same, like you're reading a script and you're just portraying what you need to portray?
It can be different. It depends on the kind of scene. Because with voiceover, sometimes with voiceover, you'll be in a room with a bunch of the other actors. So you could feed off of each other's energy.
Oh, so you guys are kind of like talking together.
Sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Like that can happen in certain situations where, like I was on Cosby's show called Fatherhood on Nickelodeon, Nick at Night. And a lot of times that we filmed, we were in the room with each other. So we were performing the scene and the mic was just capturing our work, So that in that aspect, it's easier because it's just like being on set. But at certain times, you got to go line for line by yourself. you got to hear the playback from a person that recorded 2 weeks ago, and it's beats, long beats in between every line, and then you got to fill that in, the emotion of it, fill that in, the emotion of it, fill that in. So it kind of differs, you know, but so it can be different in certain situations, and in others it can be the same.
We recently saw you in Power, not that long ago. Are you satisfied with the way Power ended? In the sense, like, because we all kind of assumed that this is what it was gonna be, but I don't think it should have been Tariq. It was so like known and just like played out that way. Do you think it should have been that? They could have spun it, especially with the leak that happened, because in the movies we deal with a lot of leaks. Should we have spun it, or do you think it was the right decision to say, you know what, let's just keep it the way it is, the way we intended?
See that question right there? I feel it's the genius behind what they did, because that little sour taste in people's mouth is going to have them searching for some type of redemption in all of the spinoffs. But if people get closure in the show, there's really no reason to watch the spinoffs. So now that Tariq was the one that actually bodied Ghost, now we probably spoiled it. If you haven't watched it, I'm sorry.
They saw it by now.
Yeah, they should have. You better have, right? But being that Tariq was the one that actually bodied Ghost, now people going to watch Book 2, Ghost. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just because it's like, oh, he bodied him, what they gonna do with him now? What, he about to take over the family business? For Tommy, I feel like his spinoff, and I'm not sure, so don't quote me on this. I don't feel like it's gonna have anything to do with that history. I feel like he's gonna be trying to move on from that. You know, so how they ended Power dictated how all the spinoffs were going to be. So I guess they knew where the direction had the most value for each spinoff, and then they had to choose the killer to bring the best closure to that, but to also attach people to the new up-and-coming joints. Because they got 3-4 spinoffs.
They got like 5 coming out, actually. They got a few coming. They got Tariq. We got a Lorenz Tate. We have a bunch of them coming out. And one of the interesting things that I saw about Power, they kind of like modeled after Marvel, creating like a universe. So is this kind of like where movies are heading, in your opinion, where we're going to, have a movie, and then let's say like The Matrix, for example. So we have The Matrix, we got Neo, we got Morpheus, and then we create different movies based on that. Is that where the movies are ultimately heading, to expand the lifespan of a picture?
I hope not. I hope not. Certain niggas I don't want to see on TV that much. So I'm gonna keep it a stack. Like, some of them, it's like, all right, bro, we saw you in this. Let that character go. Like, put that to bed. So I hope not. I mean, I am starting to see that trend where a lot of movies are trying to build like this universe and stuff like that, because they trying to milk dollars out of the IP, the intellectual property. But some of them just need to hang it up, man. Yeah. Some of them just need to hang it up. Like, it's certain franchises that I be looking at, and I'm like, yo, what this is part 9? Like, what? Y'all niggas need to get this up. Like, let these characters die, dog. Let them die off. And then they bring them back with the prequel when they was younger. Like, got the old nigga playing the younger nigga. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's like fucking weird and shit.
Yeah, doing too much. Doing way too much.
Out of all the roles that you played, what would be your best acting performance? Whether it be something you did on television, movies.
I don't watch my work, so I can't say.
You don't watch your work? Nah. But why? Is there a specific reason why you don't do it?
For me, I'm a perfectionist, so one of my mottos, just in acting, but both in life, is to have a better future. I presently trying to be better than I was yesterday.
Got it, okay.
So when I look back at my work from yesterday, it's just cringy, because now if it's a year later, 2 years later, that means that I've come 2-3 years down the line in my performance value, and now I'm looking back at the younger version of me that wasn't as polished as I am now. So then I become very critical of the choices I made, and then sometimes when you do that, you get stuck in your new roles trying to redeem yourself for the wrongs that you feel you did in your previous work. So for me, I kind of just like, that's the character's life, right? I live it. Once I lived it, that's in the past. Now we focus on the present and the future. So I don't really watch my work, so I can't say. I can't say.
We recently saw on social media, the guy that played Joker and what's his name? Joaquin.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, Joaquin Phoenix,
Yeah,
and he made it a point to say that, you know, minorities. Let's not just categorize as African American. We are all minorities. Latinos, we're all minorities. Chinese, we all are. Is this a real thing in Hollywood where they're kind of only focusing on certain people because of race, or is it more like an opinion-based thing? Like, you know.
All right. Keep it a stack.
This is the Inphamus Hour, first and foremost.
This
we
is
talk the real shit here in the Inphamus Hour.
We're going to keep it a stack, right? And my opinion on this subject is not popular, but I don't care. I feel like it's a two-way street. Because in the industry, you do have certain projects that are focused on, you know, people based on the fact that they not a minority, right? You got that. But it's not always that. You know, like, look how many projects you have that do focus on minorities. Look how much content we have coming out that's minority ran, minority driven. You know what I'm saying? So, me personally, I feel like a lot of people create excuses or they find reasons why they're not. Because if you say, well, look, I'm this and I'm that and I'm fire, I'm talented, and they not giving me no, well, I could show you 100 people that look just like you that is on right now. You know? So what if they allowed that idea or that thought to keep them from pursuing it regardless of rejection? Rejection is something we face every single day. But then once you face rejection and you stop looking within to find out what you need to do to overcome that rejection, that's when you lost. Once you start trying to put it on somebody else. Well, it's because I'm black or because I'm Spanish or because I'm Asian and it's a white industry. That's not true. That's not true. Even though the majority of projects coming out or in the history of projects, sure, it's catered to white people, right? It's a white-driven industry, but you know how many blacks are working? You know how many Asians and Hispanics and things like that are working? So just people create excuses, right? And then this is where I'm going to get real. What people forget is that all forms of entertainment is for money. It's the entertainment industry. So what the problem is that when a black project comes out, the budget is, let's say, $2 million. It makes $8 million in the theaters, right? Because people are not going to support our own films. We watching it on Fire Stick, streaming platforms. We bootlegging it instead of just going to watch our own films. So then now, when a mainstream project, or let's say a white movie, right? We're going to use these ignorant political, non-political terms. Let's say a white movie comes out and the budget was $2 million and it makes $20 million. When this production company or the studio goes to make another project, what kind of movie you think they're going to make? The movie where they're going to see a $6 million profit, or the movie where they're going to see an $18 million profit? It's simple math, you know? So it's those things, the unknowns, that allow people to feed into the ignorance of what it is and what it isn't. And like I said, it goes both ways.
It does.
You got the BS in the industry. That's a fact.
Of course.
But why are we paying attention to that? Because you're not going to change it by just paying attention to it. What narrative are you changing? Yo, this is how it is in the industry. All right, so now you mad and you unfocused, and now you telling all these other people that's like, yeah, that's crazy, bro. And guess what they doing? They focused on the stuff that you complaining about. One of the things I always tell people, if you're not a player, nobody cares how you feel. If a dude that never played in the NBA want to start talking about, they put too much minutes on the players and I feel like they should play 60 games. Nobody listening to that, nigga. You work at Pizza Hut, bro. But now if you're an NBA player, now you matter. So if you're going to change the narrative, play the game first. If you're not going to play the game, don't complain. Because you're not doing nobody no good. You're only hurting yourself.
So to piggyback off this a little bit, I always find it a mistake that we kind of make as a general, like, you know, minorities in general. Like, you'll see like a black movie and it's only targeted to a black audience.
Yeah,
And then you have a Spanish movie and it's only targeted to Spanish audience. But these quote unquote white movies are basically for everyone. So should the directors kind of change the narrative? Like, yes, we're creating a movie that has African Americans, Latinos, X, Y, and Z in it, but it's for everyone. Or should they just say, you know what, fuck that, this is what we're gonna do, and we're just targeting our own people?
You know what I feel it is? Honestly, I feel like that's cultural differences.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like between blacks and Hispanics and whites, we it's different cultures. You know what I'm saying? So certain cultures are not for everybody. So a lot of times you get directors or producers that make a project and they want to make a project that's true to the culture, and it's like, unless you grew up in that culture, you're not going to understand it. So it's not really for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say right now they made a movie, a Hispanic movie. I'm not going to understand that. But if you are from that culture or from that heritage, you love everything about it. So it's not necessarily that the movie isn't made for me. It's just that because I don't understand, I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Whereas white culture is different, because that's something that people of all cultures live in under a day-to-day pretense, because that's predominant, you know, in United States and even other countries. You know, so I do sometimes feel, though, that black and Hispanic films will unnecessarily play up stereotypes that I feel we should be trying to remove. And that's the only issue that I have with certain black filmmakers that find success, create their own projects, and then they keep rehashing the same stereotypes that we were complaining about before we were able to make our own movies. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so when you was complaining when they was doing it, why are you still doing it now? You know, so I just feel, man, like everybody always gonna have something to say.
Yeah.
You know, I try not to live in black and white. You know, I live in color. And the thing that's beautiful about color is it's all shades. It comes from different places. And at the end of the day, you need each and every color to make the full spectrum.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know, I mean, black, white, Spanish, if I like it, I'm going to watch it. If they want me and it's good, I'm going to act in it.
A lot of the roles that you've done have been like real character based. Well, do we have like any action movies, or are we gonna start? Are we gonna get you like jumping out of helicopters and like swinging off of strippers and shit? Like, what are we getting in? We haven't like that coming out. Any real like action dope kind of films?
So first, R.I.P. to Kobe Bryant.
R.I.P. Kobe Bryant.
I'm never jumping on no daggone helicopter. I'm never getting in the helicopter. Yo, the crazy thing is, I was on Instagram and I saw this New York City helicopter joint for like 60 off. So I'm like, oh, word? I might have to see what that's like. Do this little helicopter thing. The next morning, Kobe happened.
Oh, man.
I was like, it's a dub for these helicopters, boy. I got a few joints coming up. That's a little action based. I can't really talk about them in detail, you know. But I got one that's